Hey, you're now tuned in to Underdog Talk. I'm your host, Eric Jones Jr., the underdog with the heroic heart, and I have conversations with successful underdogs. And today I have a successful underdog, David Norec. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey Eric, doing great, man. Thank you for asking.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for being a part of the show. Before we get into our conversation, today's sponsor is brought to you by Christian Dewan, my personal brand, positive energy through your clothes. You can go to the website. We have t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts. You get 15% off if you use Underdog Talk, and Underdog is spelled UNDERDAWG and Talk, and you use that as the promo code, and you get 15% off. We'll have some new stuff getting ready for the fall, and use that promo code christiandewan.com. So I have my man David here, and he has an amazing underdog story. And let's go to before it became, I don't know if you would say it's beautiful now, or but it's beautiful, it's more beautiful than it was. So when it was ugly, when things were looking bad for you, what was going on in life? Where were you at? What was going on there?
That's interesting, man. I guess if I look back, I would start 2013. Hadn't really ever experienced any kind of loss with family or close friends, but in 2013, I lost an older brother to complications from diabetes,
Mm,
and it was the first time I really had to experience some kind of loss. What really hurt me during that time, I'd say about 2 weeks before he passed away, I had this feeling like to go visit him, go talk to him, and I just, wrestled with that inside my head and decided I'll go in a couple weeks. We have plenty of time, and I didn't, and so I didn't get a chance to really talk to him one last time.
mm,
Um, and 2014, I lost an older sister of mine to complications of diabetes as well. Um, so it was, and actually, right a couple weeks before that, I lost a very good pastor friend of mine who really I saw him as a father figure,
mm-hmm.
and that was a couple weeks before my sister passed away. So you're talking within 2 years, losing people that were very close to me, and I went from never having to experience loss to having to deal with that, and on top of that, being the consistent churchgoer that I was, the family looked to me to be the strong one, and it's a blessing, but it's also a curse, because I never, you know, I don't think I ever was able to deal with those losses in a good way because I had to be there for other people, and so yeah, I mean, it's within 2 years, my life was just rocked, and then that's what started this journey.
Man, man, I'm sorry to hear that, and that's crazy that that happens because people say things happen in threes, and then the first thing was, I think we as humans don't realize time waits for no man, and like sometimes it'd be like, oh, I'm gonna talk to such and such, then, and you never know what'll happen. Like for instance, my co-host, because I've had a podcast for a few years, and it was something else because I had co-hosts, and we were about to change it because they had been on the show for a while. We had a meeting. We like, all right, we about to we about to have the podcast. We about to take it serious. We about to monetize off it. We got all these plans. We had a meeting that Thursday. I think we had a little text in the group on that Saturday. Monday, she was hit by a car.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Out of
Wow.
like just random. Nothing, not she was sick, she was part of nothing. No, she was walking in the morning with her boyfriend and a car hit her.
Mm.
And it's like you don't get the time back with those people, so you spend as much time with those people that you say you love, because you don't want that kind, I'm sure
Yeah.
that that hurt, like, dang man, I really didn't get a chance to go talk to him. Or sometimes we get in arguments with our friends, and then stuff happens the way the world is nowadays. You don't know how somebody gonna go out.
Yeah.
It's you got monkeypox, COVID, violence everywhere. You don't know what you got. You got to stay in the house nowadays, and you still might get sick, and you never know.
Yeah.
But that part of it, and then I understand. When I think I was like 15 or 16, my grandfather died, and I was the only, other man of our our immediate family. So like when he passed, they're crying on me and stuff, and I'm like, man, I don't know what, I didn't know what to do. I'm
Yeah.
like, I just lost. He was like my best friend because I talked to him every day from probably till I could remember, and it was like this was my homie, and he passed. I can't even really, get myself together. So I went to go play basketball right after I found out. And that kind of helped. I told my friends, and getting that out helped, but it still was like the family they didn't look for me because I was still a kid, but it was like they looking for me to be strong. And I'm like, shoot, I'm just as sad as y'all. I'm just as hurt. Like, I don't know. So after those siblings, I wouldn't know what to do if something happened to my sister. So I know that's crazy. And then you said somebody that was like a father figure. I definitely kind of know how that my biological father passed away when I was real young. And my grandfather was like another. So I kind of understand that one. And it's like, how did you kind of like bounce? What did you do afterwards? Because I know it wasn't like, oh, I got back on the horse and I just went back to work. I know how did you get over the hump or to be able to cope, throughout the day? Because I'm sure you had moments where you broke down and stuff like that. So how did you what did you do?
Um, I think back in 2010, I recommitted my life to Christ, and I think a lot of that, looking back, was in preparation for a lot of these things that were going to happen in my life. And so, as much as it hurt, I know I had to get back in church and be around people that were going to support me. That really helped, and that's really what it was. Just having a good support system that were there to, they didn't have to say the right words. They were just there, and their presence was just felt. And it's something you don't ever get over. I think, like you just mentioned, there you could be driving down a certain place, hearing a certain song, or memory just pops up, and that pain comes back instantly, and it's tough. My brother just had his a heavenly birthday a couple days ago, and so there's always reminders,
Yeah.
but for sure, um, God put this idea to write this children's book in my mind, and that really helped me look at this through a different lens, and realize that He could take a tragedy and turn it into a triumph.
Man, you're right on with that because with me, born with a disability, like some people, I've went to hospitals where there's kids look just like me, and they're way worse, or I've seen kids worse, and it's like, my it's not that bad. So I had to, turn that into something, and it took me years to figure out why I was born the way I was and what plan God had, but it takes going through hell to get to where you need to. And it's like, man, why did I have to go? And then if you're a person that grows and wants to grow, you'll understand why. If you actually look at it, and it sucks. It could be, someone passing, it could be losing a job, it could be whatever that adversity is. You got to look at it and be like, why did I have to go through that? And how am I a better person from that? Because if you don't become a better person from that, something could trigger you and it'll throw you off, and it'll be like somebody smacking you in your mouth, and it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do? But when you become a better person, it's like, all right, boom, you like, I'm gonna write a children's book. So what is your children's book about? What I mean, I'm pretty sure I kind of know what inspired the children's
Mm-hmm.
book just by listening to your story and talking to you previously. I know, but just listening, I'm sure anybody else kind of will. But what kind of inspired it, and what is it about?
So I would say about 3 or 4 months after my sister passed away, I was driving home, and at the time I was teaching at a middle school that was actually awarded the number one middle school in the United States. So then I just say that so that that I was at probably you would call a dream school. You know, as a teacher, like, wow, the kids were great, administration was awesome, staff was amazing. And so I'm driving home, and it's a simple prayer I made. I said, Lord, if you want me to do something different in my life, put it in my heart right now. And Eric, I would say a few seconds after I made that prayer, I literally got this idea: write a children's book. Call it The Adventures of Exo and Psy, which is a play on the word exercise. Have the story take place in a town called OB City, which stands for obesity. Have the mayor be Mayor Diabetes, which is diabetes. And in this first book, and in the forthcoming books, have the villains represent something unhealthy. And then in this first book, the main villain is Chip and his dog Nacho, who represent potato chips. And then here's the kicker. I'm wearing a shirt that says exercise because, you know, exo and psi, put that together, you get the word exercise or exercise. In the book, there are 11 different exercises or exercises that kids are encouraged to do as they read the book. So it makes it interactive. So by reading the book, you actually get an exercise workout. So you learn about the importance of healthy eating, and you get an exercise workout in a children's book. There's nothing like that out there. And anybody who asks, like, so many people said that's a good idea, and I said no, it's not a good idea. That's a God idea, because that's where it came from. And so yeah, so that's what the book is about, and that's what I continue to do. The next book, keeping with a play on words, will be called The Adventures of Arrow, which is a little girl, and her cat Bix. Put it together, it's aerobics. So I'm going to alternate between exo and psi and aerobics until we get to the very end, the seventh and final book.
I love that. That's like you said, that's a God idea. Like, that's super dope. Like how you broke it down, because you know sometimes you're like, okay, how can I use certain words, and but make it different? And you're, I love it. I was wondering what that was, and I was like, okay, he just explained it. And I love the book idea. You saying is, you know, it's a workout book really for kids. Like, okay,
Yeah.
you get to read, you get to see the story. Okay, the story's cool. Oh, we get to do the workout, and that's dope. So I'm gonna we're definitely gonna have a link. We're gonna keep talking about the story, but I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna grab one tomorrow. So I'm definitely gonna grab one just from hearing how dope that story is, because
Appreciate it.
like I like how it goes, and then you got it with the series, and then you switched it over. So um how did it go when you first got the book? When you brought it out, how did it go for you? Was it like, all right, everybody's getting it, or was it like, all right, God, you said write this book? So how did when you first started, what was the results?
A little bit of both. When I would explain to people the concept and the book idea, everybody was like, "That's amazing. Where did you come up with this?" You know, I said, "I didn't come up with it. God put that in my heart." But at the same time, it was, "Okay, Lord, I've got this idea from you. What next?" And so I used to be an English teacher, so it took me about 6 months to write the book. You know, there's a lot of editing, revising, and then I found an illustrator who agreed to do the illustrations, and it took him about a year and a half to actually complete the illustrations. And you know, I mean, you're a teacher. You know, we don't get paid the highest salaries, and so
Yeah.
I'm there trying to figure out. Okay, Lord, how am I? I've written the book. Now I have to pay for an illustrator. Okay, you provided with that for me, but now I got to get it printed. You know, how are you going to do that? And because an idea is an idea, but once you take the next step, that's um, I went and auditioned for Shark Tank. They had an open casting call in San Antonio, Texas, and I said, "Hey, I'll give it a shot. Let me go." Literally, Eric, my illustrator finished doing the illustrations the night before I was to go and audition for some of the producers. And so I didn't even have a book. I had an ebook. I just had it on my laptop, and that's it. Um, so that next morning, I wake up and I'm like, I'm excited, I'm nervous, and I'm looking for my clothes that I thought I had brought up with me to, to go present this idea. Couldn't find it anywhere. Turns out I had left him back home 4 hours away. There was no way. And I remember just doubting myself, and I said, you know what, I shouldn't even go and audition. I don't have a book yet. I forgot my clothes. Forget this. I'm just gonna go home, tail between my legs, and we'll see what happens. But then I just decided, you know what, just go for it. You never know. And they give you 2 minutes to present the idea. A lot of people in front of me and behind me looked a lot more prepared than me, and I started with the pitch, explaining how I lost my brother and sister to diabetes, and then I gave him the idea, and the gentleman that I pitched it to right afterwards, he said, I love this idea, and I'm going to talk to the producers about getting you on the show. And I thought he was saying that to everybody, but when I got back home on Monday, I sure enough got an email. Hey, we love your idea. We want you to be on the show, and here are the next steps to doing that.
Mm.
But I mean, long story short, this has been a long journey. I wasn't making money. I wasn't bringing any money yet because I didn't even have a physical book. So I was still too much in the beginning stages, of the business to get on the show. But for them to say, yes, we love your idea, we want you on the show, that was a big victory. But your show is about being an underdog, and man, you talk about, I wish I could have taken a picture of all the people that were pitching their ideas that day, and I looked completely out of place. I was the one guy where I didn't belong, but again, God put this idea in my heart, and He just wanted me to be faithful, and I was able to audition, and it was, I don't know, you could see it both ways. It was a victory, it was success, but still, I had some work to do.
So it was successful because you got to see what you had to do for the next steps. But
Yes.
that's definitely underdog, because it's like, what, when people think of Shark Tank, you're like, okay, you got a great idea. It's like, okay, you about to be on the show. Then you get there, you're like, hold on, oh no, I don't got my stuff. Oh
Yeah.
no. So then you go, you said you don't have a physical book, so you probably got like a laptop. You looking like, they like, what? My man ain't got nothing. He got on just a regular t-shirt, some jeans, and a laptop. Yeah, he ain't talking about nothing. But people don't understand, like, you don't have to look like anything. You don't have to be dressed in a suit. You don't have to be whatever. Sometimes it's who you are as a person, and you actually have a good idea. You're solving a problem. It wasn't that it's not an idea, it's a solution. It's a solution to kids losing weight, being more healthier, so they don't, get diabetes or get sick or whatever the case may be. So that's really why it's a great idea, because it's a solution. And in life, we have to solve solutions. So you went on there and they were like, oh, that solves the problem. But you didn't have everything that you needed. So it's like, all right, this is a good idea. Now I need a plan. Now I need a strategy. And that's sometimes where people hear a no, and then they'll go back and scratch that idea and go to something else. And it's like, no, you just need to tweak that a little bit. And guess what? Things will start happening, because you have to be consistent. Like, it's very hard. Life hits you, especially when you're a teacher. Like, you got to deal with school. You got to make sure you got lesson plans. Stuff happens. Then if you have you got your own kids, they got their schedule. It's like, all right, man, I'm tired. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I forgot. I didn't realize today was the 11th, because I told you I was down and out for a couple of days. I didn't even know what day of the week it was, and so I'm talking to my friend on the phone. Um, and I looked, and on my tablet it said our recording. And I was like, oh, that is today. So I was like, okay, because I was about to watch a movie and go to sleep because I'm tired. But you gotta fight through that tiredness. You gotta fight through those excuses, because it's gonna be on that day that something happens that you were tired or that you didn't want to do it, that something special. You didn't want to do it. You said, I'm about to go home. I'm about to chunk it up. I'm
Yeah.
about to say, up, I lost. And look what happened. And I'm sure just from you being on there and them telling you, oh, hey, man, you got to do X, Y, and Z. Now it's like, okay, now I know what to do. And boom. Now, after that, how did things go for you? Was it like, okay, the money started coming in, you were able to get published, or did it still take a little more time?
Yeah, it took more time. In fact, when I was up in San Antonio to pitch that idea to Shark Tank, I was also trying to do the same thing in my city where I grew up in, here in McAllen, Texas. And and the day that I got the email from Shark Tank saying, "Hey, we love your idea. We want you on the show." That same day, I got a letter from my city saying, "You're not ready. We're not we're not interested in helping you along with your business idea." And I'm like, okay, so my local city said no, Shark Tank says yes, and but still, I'm still like, okay, well, I still need to get some books printed. It is extremely difficult to get published traditionally. You just a lot of people don't understand how you need to first get an agent, and getting an agent to represent you is hard enough as it is, and then they will work on trying to get a publisher for you. So I said, okay, I mean, I can try to self-publish. I had to wait another year, and I entered that competition again with my local city, and this time, 2019, I was awarded one of their innovation grant winners, and they awarded me $2,500 seed money to start up the business, and that allowed me to print my first run of books. I think I printed 500 books, and so I'm like, okay, what's next? Had to go get some like T-shirts like this made, cap like this made. Now I had to go to schools and make myself available. And I started going to school, started selling 40 to 50 books per visit. And by the way, when I first started, I was charging for visits. I was getting a few bites, but when when you don't know people in that area, it's hard to get schools to get you invited. So I said, you know what? Why did I write this book? It was to honor my brother and sister, to help kids eat healthy and exercise. So I started offering free school visits, which I'm still doing until October 1st of this year. And I started getting booked left and right, selling 40 to 50 books per visit. Everything was going awesome until March of 2020, where we know what happened then.
Yeah.
And let's shut down all the schools because of COVID-19. And bam, that was just a slap to the face. I was just getting started, just getting out there, and COVID ruined everything as far as that is concerned. But you know what? Sometimes, and what I've learned, just being an underdog is that's okay. God's got your back, and He's got some wonderful things planned for you. When COVID hit, I was able to connect with a local personal trainer. Her trainer actually trained Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day, and so she is legit. And we made a YouTube video where I read the book and she does the exercises, which is free on my website. And again, just God making beauty from ashes. And but again, it's just I was getting hit, bam, get knocked down, and back to the bottom, hanging out with the rest of the underdogs, and seeing, okay, what's going to happen next. But yeah, that's what happened after Shark Tank.
I mean, it's part of the journey. It's part of you're trusting the process. Because I think for a lot of people, if you started a little before COVID and then COVID hit, it's like, what do I do? Like for me, I was speaking, I was going to schools, boom, 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 COVID, bam, what in the world? Like, no. And it threw me off. And I haven't really spoke like in a school in a long time because of that, because it threw me off. And now I'm a teacher, so it's like, well, I can't just leave my class, so I have to kind of figure that part out of how I'm going to continue to speak and be a teacher. So it's a little difficult, but COVID did mess that up. But it's like, okay, how else can I do it? Okay, I can have the podcast, or I can post videos on social media and stuff of that sort. So it's like, it's different ways you can do it. Like you said, you got on YouTube, you were able to get somebody that was a trainer that people knew, so I'm sure that helped. So that was a smart idea. Hey, let me see who will work out and I can read the book to, and that was a dope idea right there. And then you said you went back. You said, all right, y'all ain't like me first time. I'm back. And
Back.
now, you won. And I like what you said. You said God turned ashes into beauty. And it's like, yeah, I tried to tell y'all ain't want to hear me. I'm here now. Thank you. And now, you're able to do what needed to do. And then COVID said, hey, how's it going? You got to sit down. And it's
Yep.
like, so, COVID, I mean, it's still, I guess it's not as many restrictions now. So as COVID is ending, how are things going with the book?
Um, they're going great. I'm working with some interns from our local university, with the City of Mission Chamber of Commerce, to get some coaching, to get some intern help with marketing, finance, and e-commerce. And man, we are ready to hit the ground running, not just here in Texas, but across the country. And I've connected with some schools in the UK, and so I'm hoping to go visit over there as well. So I'm hoping this is going to be a good full year without restrictions, that I can go and visit and be out there. So it's going well with that. Just excited, a little bit nervous, but um, one of the things I forgot to mention was last year, our Texas has a huge grocery chain. It's called HEB. They
Hmm.
have close to 300 stores in the state of Texas. They have over 70 stores in Mexico, and every year they have a competition called the Quest for Texas Best Competition. And normally they only accept food products because they are a big grocery chain, but they've grown so much that um, they sell other things other than groceries. And last year, this book right here, The Adventures of EXO and Psy, out of they told me over 1,200 entrepreneurs applied with their products to get in that grocery store, and I was the first ever non-food product to be chosen as a finalist for the HEB Quest for Texas Best Competition. Um, you know, to Out of over 1,200 people to hear that, oh my goodness, I'm thinking I'm just a guy from South Texas. God put this idea in my book, and like what? Like really? I made the top 20 out of over 1,200 contestants or applicants there, and in the state of Texas. You really want this book in your shelves? And man, it's it, when you're in the position of being an underdog, and then you hear things like that, you got to step back and think, am I dreaming? Is somebody going to wake me
Yeah,
up? This is
yeah,
crazy. And man, that was just a huge dream come true. And that's just added to things that I never thought would be possible. Also, last year I applied to be on a TV show called The 2 Minute Drill with Dave Meltzer. It's kind of like a Shark Tank kind of show. It comes out on Apple TV and Bloomberg TV, and they accepted my application. I went on one of the shows. There's 5 contestants. You got 2 minutes to pitch your idea, and one is awarded $50,000. I got on there. I was in season 3, episode 8, which aired in April, I believe, of this year. I did not win the top honor, but I was awarded. It's called the JA Worldwide Award for a business who is doing good in their community. And even though I didn't win the money, just being awarded that and to be recognized as somebody who's doing something good in the community was pretty awesome. And again, it's like, wow, like I can't believe all this is happening, to somebody who just a simple guy from South Texas.
yeah. I love it. You said, man, I'm just a guy from South Tech, a kid from South Texas, man, and I love that. That's kind of like that's me. I remember a couple years ago, I'm just a kid from Michigan City. Now not too many people know where that's from. That's a small town up north Indiana. Like I don't know. It's just when you got God on your side. Like you go through a lot. You go through like what in the world? Like okay, and then when things happen and you get awards and people recognize your work, it's like, okay, okay, God, I see what you're doing. It's not always about the money. Like, we know the money will come. You just got to be consistent. But when you getting awards and people recognizing you and people like, man, you're doing a great job. Your book is impacting and changing kids' lives. And you hear stuff like that, it's like, that's dope. That's doper than money. I mean, money definitely helps, but that's doper than money. Like, to hear stuff like that, it's like, okay, like when kids come up to me, like, I sometimes I don't remember. They be like, man, you remember me from the detention center? I'm like, okay. Then sometimes I do, and I'll be like, yeah, man, I'm doing this, and that. And they just got the biggest smile on their face just because they see me. And it's like, or I seen a kid today at she went to the old school that I worked at, and she seen me. She was smiling ear to ear because she remembered me. And I was like, oh, I remember you. And it's like, when you get that, it's like, okay, I'm doing something good. Like, when you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, like, and people tell you that, that's what it's about. It's not always about a check, because the check's gonna come. Because when you're doing that and people see you, okay, I ain't win the award out of the first 5 years. Okay, Michael Jordan didn't win his first championship to his 7th year. Like, you just got, it's that, it might be that next opportunity. And sometimes you hear a no and people give up, but you haven't gave up. You kept going. Like, you have a why behind this. And a lot of times people don't have a why behind what they do. And your why has to be bigger than your why not. Your why is your siblings. Like, you're representing them. You're making sure that their name is gonna last forever. Like, you got them. Like, I got you, big bro. I got you, big sis. Like, I'm down here, and I'm sure they are up there, man. I'm sitting here. I wish I had the clap thing. I was about to start clapping when you were talking. Like, I got a big old smile on my face. I don't know you from, and I just met you, and I got a smile because I'm like, man, that's dope. He's winning. Like, and I can see it in you and that you're winning. And that's what this is about. That's what the podcast is about. Like, telling the story and somebody that dealt with grief and turn that into something that can impact the world, not just Texas, not just your city, but the world, once people catch on to what you got going on. And I'm just here to, be a vessel and help you and promote it on my podcast. Like I said, I'm going to grab me a book because I show it to my son. It's other kids. I can try to see, I know a couple schools, see how maybe we can get you out here in Indiana or virtually, or however people can get the book. So, what do you want to do after the book? What's the next step? Do you have a next step, or is it like, I'm just at the books, I'm trying to get this rolling, or do you know what you want to do? You don't got to tell, like, if it's something big, but do you got the next step after that?
Right now I'm focusing on just a book. I plan on releasing. It's right now. It looks like it's going to be a series of 7 books, and I plan on releasing a new book every November to coincide with 2 things. One, my late sister's birthday, November 17th, but also November is Diabetes Awareness Month, and so I'm looking at the next 7 years releasing a new book. And I don't know. Right now, it looks like 7 is a number that I'm going to stop at. But I mean, who knows from there? It's just taking, one step at a time. A couple of years ago, nobody knew that this pandemic was going to rob us of 2 years of our lives, right? Nobody could ever imagine something like that happening. Now you got, inflation going on, and then now. So I don't know, but I've learned, like the Bible said, God is a lamp to our feet. He's not the flashlight to our feet. And many times, we want this big flashlight so we can see what's coming up, 100 yards from us. But God's like, no. I'm a lamp to your feet, and you're only going to see the next step, and that's all I want you to see. And so that's what I have planned right now. But who knows? And it's funny, it could be and I say that because you mentioned things happen in threes, and of course with the pandemic, after I lost my brother and sister and my father figure, 2017, just when I was starting all this, I lost a younger sister. She lost her life in a car accident, and that was sudden and unexpected. A couple years after that, Um, I lost my niece's husband, who, um, you know, he was going through some things, and I had an opportunity to probably go talk to him, and I didn't, and left. I was left with a lot of guilt there. And then this past year, we're coming up to a year. A year ago, I just lost my number one supporter, and that's my mom. Um,
Mm.
I was just talking to somebody about this earlier today, and whatever you do, you need to have that number one fan who's always going to support you. That was my mom, and I'll never forget a year ago when I was going to San Antonio for this big competition with HEB. She was in a nursing home, and I would see her every single day. And the last time I visited her before the trip, I told her, "Look, I'm going to be gone for 3 to 4 days," and she wants to know why, and because I'm not going to see her. And she said, "Where are you going? Why are you going?" And I said, "I'm going to this competition." And literally before I said another word, she didn't know what the competition was. She didn't know what was going on. And after I said the word competition, she said, "You're going to win it." And you know what? I thought, just by hearing you say that, I've already won it. Whether I win it or not, my goodness, I'm so blessed to have had someone like that in my life, that no matter what, she was going to have my back. And I miss her every single day. I trust me. There are times when things get rough where I wish I could go and
Yeah.
just see her and hug her and kiss her on the forehead and just grab her hand and just, man, it's when, trust me, when you're an underdog and you have a mom or a parent like that, they don't let you feel like an underdog. To them, nah, you're a big dog. You're not an underdog. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, I like my, that's me and my mom. Like I call my mom, she be like, I know she be like, what do he want? I just call her to talk. She like my best friend now because I don't really have like a lot of people, or people schedule, because she doesn't work. I call her every day. She's always at the store, but she'll talk to me, or she'll be like, I'll call you back. I'm at the gym working out or whatever. So it's like I understand that. And she's always like, I'm proud of you, or she always got my back, or she'll say something, or that's like, all right, my OG said it, like I'm doing good, then I feel like, because it's like I'm making her proud, because it's like I don't want to just be out here being willy nilly. I want to be great. So I want to be able to be like, hey, mom, where you want to move? Or hey, what kind of car you want? Let's go wherever you want to go. And I want to be able to, before she get, okay. I make jokes on my mom's not old, but she old to me. So I'm like, I don't want her to be too old and she can't do nothing, because I missed that opportunity with my grandma. My grandma was the biggest Cubs fan, biggest Cubs
Mm,
fan. And so I wanted to take her. And by the time like I was able to and I had money, she was, in the nursing home, because she just was going through dementia and all these health things.
mhm.
So it's like, man, I never got a chance to take her. And this the craziest thing. The year that the Cubs won, she died the year before that.
Oh, man.
So it's like angels in the outfield, but it's like it would have been so dope to be sitting at my grandma's house, or well, sitting at, not at her house, but at the nursing home with her, watching the Cubs win the World Series. Like that, like how many years she used to yell. I'm like, it ain't working, but just I understand that. Like with my grandma, I was her favorite out of her kids, out of everybody. So she always said little stuff that just made me feel like I was that dude. And it was like, okay. And when she passed, it's like, dang, I can't call Granny, and to hear that. So I definitely understand that part. And like, you always do gotta have somebody else. It don't even gotta be like a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. It could be just a buddy. Like if one of your homies call you like, man, I'm proud of you. It's like, all right, that I'm doing good. Cause you know that they gonna tell you if you're doing good, or if they tell you you're doing bad. So it's always good to have people around you that uplift you, because sometimes you can be doing good, but it's not where you want to be, and then it's like, I don't know, am I doing good? And somebody tell you, and you're like, okay, whew, all right, I'm good. So I love your story, man. I definitely want to have like you back on uh I want to have you back on in November so you can promote your book
Cool.
at some point on the episode. So definitely want to have you back on. But before we get out of here, all my guests, I always ask them for 3 tips. So I don't know what the 3 tips, whatever 3 tips, because you've been through a lot. You got a story where you could give it to
Mm-hmm.
them. So just give 3 tips that people can use once they hear this episode.
Um, Three, I would say number one, surround yourself with the right people. Um, so, and by that I mean they're going to believe in you no matter what, but they're also not going to be afraid to fill you in on some truth. You need those kind of people in your life. Number two, and you mentioned a little bit before, you have to understand why you're doing what you're doing, because
Mm,
there are going to be some dark times, some difficult times, um, and you have to go back and ask yourself, okay, why am I on this journey? Why am I doing what I'm doing? And that should be enough to refocus you and keep you moving forward. And lastly, I would say, um, uh, I, I would say you you can't give up. There are going to be people that are going to come along the way who are going to question you, who are going to doubt you, going to try to give you some advice that they think is best for you. And there are going to be times when you're going to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Do not give up. In my case, I know God put this in my heart for a reason, and I cannot give up. Even when I see others, getting ahead, hey, let's celebrate them. Let's be happy for those people. There's enough to go around, and then just don't give up.
I love those. Like you said, man, I've been there where it's been some people where we different industries, but we started in there, and it's like, okay, man, I had to go through what I had to go through. Like, I'm definitely understanding. Like, if I was to have maybe the success money wise, would I be able to handle it? You
Yeah.
know, so it's like certain stuff you gotta wait your turn. Like you gotta wait your turn, but you gotta still keep grinding. You gotta still keep hustling. Cause like you said, God's there. He ain't tell you to do that for no reason. He ain't just say, "Oh, go ahead, start that." He's always on time. Even when the day, I'm sure
Amen.
his days you like, all right, God, like, you said you was going and told me to do this, and he like, all right, boom, oh, I got an award, oh, I got this, oh, okay, my bad, God, my bad, I mean, and sometimes it's like that. It's like
Yep.
you just keep working and keep, because I'm gonna be honest. My mind blank. I ain't didn't realize what the days was, and I'm like, man, I don't have an episode because I wasn't able to record with the person on Tuesday for Wednesday, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? And then, boom, I got an episode. Like this is coming out today's Thursday. It's coming out tomorrow, Friday, and it's like you just gotta trust the process. When you're consistent, it's like, okay, things happen. Like that's why you make sure you do stuff, you prepare. That's why I
Yeah.
make sure I book people a few times ahead. So when it's time for it, I got enough. So and it just happens. And being sick, and then last week had my wisdom tooth out. So my last week
Mm.
I've been life been boop boop boop. I'm like, okay, and I forgot, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm good, and it's because I've been consistent, because I was working, because I already set up set up the interviews. So it's like when you do those things, keep working, and it's so crazy because my barber, he'd be like, hey man, I see your podcast and all that, and sometimes you don't see anybody like or comment on your stuff, but people are actually watching you. They're actually
Yeah.
like, hey, like, man, it's dope. I see you got different guests and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. I ain't know you watched it. And it's like, and it's people come up to you, man, I see your book. So before we get out of here, because I don't want to talk too much, because I will, uh, how can people reach you? Oh, wait. Before that, you got to give us a quote. I don't know if you got a quote, if you thought, you seen one today, or if you live by one, whatever it is. Before you tell people how they can reach you, I need a quote.
You need a quote, original or not original.
Hey, it don't. It could be yours. It could be something you like, whatever it is.
Wow. Uh, Jimmy Valvano said it best, man. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And hey, listen, I live by that. I ain't never gonna give up. I
Amen.
like you throw me in the jungle, I'm coming out. I don't know when, but I'm gonna come out. Like yeah, I ain't never giving up. You gonna have to kill. Like I think I said in the video, you gonna have to kill me if you gonna beat me. It don't matter what it is, not literally kill me, but that's how it's gonna be. It ain't gonna be no walk in the park, and that's just how you gotta treat life, because life ain't no walk in the park.
No.
When we was younger, I can't wait to be an adult. Skip that. Let me go back to being a kid again. That was easy.
Yeah.
This adulthood is some bull. Boy, this adulthood will whoop you. But tell people how they can reach you, how they can get a book. I make sure I have it in the show notes,
Yeah.
so so people can reach out to you if they want to. You got your website and your how they can get the book.
The best way to reach me or to get this book, The Adventures of EXOCYSES, davidnorec.com. I have plenty of stuff on there. I got that video of me reading the book and the personal trainer doing the exercises. You got all my contact info there if anybody wants to reach me. Up until October 1st, I will be doing free school visits. I would love to. I've never been to Indiana. I would love to get up there somehow and do a book presentation over there. I'm most active here on Facebook, facebook.com / David Norec EXOCYSES, like my shirt, EXOCYSES. And yeah, that's the best way to reach me. And I'm very active, so now I promise I get back to everybody.
I love it. I definitely know a couple people see what they think, because getting these kids these days to work out is they don't know what that is. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm tired. You've been outside 5 minutes. What are you talking about? You're 10. What are you like? What? Like kids really be tired. Listen. I'm outside from morning to them street lights come on. I'm not playing because I ain't getting in trouble, but these kids is tired. So I definitely I'll be talking to you offline, but I definitely know a couple people I can talk to, reach out to, even at my own school, and see what they think, or how you could get out here, because yeah, that'd be dope. You can reach me at Underdawg Talk podcast on Instagram, Facebook, on YouTube is Underdawg with heroic heart, and then Underdawg Talk podcast at Gmail if you want to email and tell me what I'm doing good, what I could do better. If you got want to be on the show, if you don't remember something about a guest, however, that's how you can reach me. You got any closing words before we get out of here?
Eric, you're doing an amazing job, and thank you so much for opening up this platform, not just for me, but for other underdogs. And hey, one day, right now we're underdogs. Someday we'll be top dogs.
And on that note, peace.